Hello, Dawn here, Women's Ministries. Today we're going to be talking about Every Woman's Ministry 106. A woman's personality, understanding yourself and others. So, first I'm going to start off with a little story about what happened to me when I was younger. When my mother was still alive, she would say to me, "Dawn, how come you're not creative like me or your sisters?" I never said anything because I had to think about that. What do you mean I'm not creative? I think we all have creative personalities, one way or another. But we're all different. And today, I could say, yes, I'm creative. I make things, arts and crafts. I knit. I sew. I make wreaths. I make homemade soaps. Yeah. So, why did she think that I wasn't very creative? And why did she think that I was like everybody else? Well, here's the real truth. In Romans 12:1 and 2, it states, "Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice." Now, he's not saying to throw yourself in the fire and give yourself as a burnt offering. He says, give yourself as a sacrifice, meaning helping others and creating yourself to help others. Everybody has something in them that is creative in ways that they can go and help others. Holy and pleasing to God. So this is something, it has to be holy and pleasing to God. So you want to do stuff for other people. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good and pleasing and perfect will. So here, we're not to conform what everybody else is doing, but what God has created us to do. So we have to find out what our personality is, how creative are we, and what is God's purpose for us here on earth. We must recognize that they are truths and God intends for us to put into practice. So we have to find out what our purpose is and what our creativity is, who we are. What did God want from us? What does He want? What is His purpose that He's given us as He's put us on this earth? We must not file these truths away in our minds. So don't think about it and then not do it. You need to think about it, figure it out, and then do it. We must live them out in our daily walk in the Spirit. These two verses are called to commit a commitment to be worked out by a whole new way of thinking and behaving. Excuse me. Be obedient to them. Let us know now. Look for a commitment called for in these verses, and to the glory of God and to our good. So what are they talking about? We gotta find out what our purpose is. We're not all alike. I'm not like my mother. I'm not like my sisters. God created me to be who I am. God created me for a purpose. There's always a purpose why He created us. So we have to find out what our purpose is. And what I found out was I was put on here to be kind, to help others, and go out and help people. And I have done that for many years. I found my purpose. I found out what God wants me to do. So here we are called to make a commitment. What is your commitment? What are you going to do? What is your purpose? Your purpose is what you need to commit to. So I urge you, therefore, by the mercy of God, to present your bodies as a living and holy sacrifice acceptable to God, which in your spiritual service of worship. Women's ministry, that's one of the things that God put in me, to go out and to send out information to all women, to be creative, and even do art projects for fundraising. God has created you to be who you are meant to be, as He has created you in your mother's womb. So He created you even in your mother's womb of who you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be like your mom. You're not supposed to be like your dad. If you have an interest in something that they do, maybe they want to start a bake shop, or maybe they want to serve the homeless. And if you have that interest, good for you. But be what God has intended you to be. So first, don't be conformed of this world. So you don't have to go out and do what everybody else is doing. God doesn't want you to do that. Allow God to transform your mind. Pray. Ask God, what do you want me to do? What are my next steps? Put oneself to the test. So examine yourself. Who am I? What am I capable of doing? What does God want me to do? Be sanguine, which is popular, fun. That's kind of there are 4 different personalities. Sanguine is a popular, fun, loving person who has a positive outlook. They are extroverts and very sociable. They thrive in social settings. So if you're someone like a sanguine, then maybe you'd be a good speaker if you like to be around a lot of people. Maybe you want to do events, raise fundraisers for nonprofits. Yeah. Here's another type of personality, choleric. Powerful, controlling, goal-oriented. They're assertive and they're very confident people. Those are sometimes your leaders. Yeah. And if you have that go-getting, assertive attitude, and you have to set goals, and you go, 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 that might be you. Melancholy. Those are the people that are, they have to do everything by perfection, but they are very orderly. Perfectionist, deep thinkers, reliable, and they are very dependable. Does that sound like you? Phlegmatic. Now these are your laid-back people. They're peaceful, easygoing, good listeners, patient, and empathetic. You might find those a lot in the medical field. Yeah. But they might have a different personality, or they may have 2 different ones. Personalities are inherited. They look at children like children's personalities are different from everybody else, but God is the one that created that personality in you. Some parents try to make over their children's personality. So they sometimes, like my mom, she said, "How come you're not creative like the rest of us?" Well, I may have been born in her womb, but God created me to be who I am, not who you are. But parents need to learn to accept their children's personalities. Well, I wasn't creative like my mom and my sisters, but I'm creative in my own way, and that's my personality. I'm creative to go and helping people and what they need. Parents to train up a child in the way that individual child should go. So even though they have to understand what the personality of each child is first in order to direct them to what they're supposed to be doing. Parents need to magnify on their strengths. Sometimes that doesn't happen, and I've worked with quite a few families. They instead of working on the strengths, they always put them down and criticize them on their weaknesses. And in order to bring up a child, you need to work with their strengths. What are some of the strengths your children have? Oh, mine's a creative art. Mine other one is does very well in music. Maybe my other one I only have 2 children, but I know that my other one or the other are good in math. I had my oldest son help my younger son in math because I'm no good at math. So he was good, and he was able to help my younger son. So they should minimize the weakness and magnify or work with their strengths instead of the weaknesses. Sometimes, they can maybe help with the weaknesses, like my weakness in math, So I have my one child help the other child that has the strength in math. So understanding parents' personality types helps to understand how to get along for a long-lasting relationship. And with husbands and wives, or even boyfriend, girlfriend, what do you see in that person? Are you magnifying and working with their strengths or their weaknesses? Because when you get married, in order for you to have a long-lasting relationship, you got to work with what their personality is and not try to change them to what your personality, because that's not going to work. That's going to have a blow up right there. Yeah. So, I also do weddings, so when I talk to somebody, I tell them, do you accept this person as what they are? I have one person that says, I want to change him. I don't like the way he is. That's a mistake. If he needs to accept you for who you are, you need to accept him for who he is. Because if you can't accept each other, this relationship could end very hostile. Yeah. And you don't want that. Accept people for who they are. Well, whatever their religion is, whatever their personality is, their culture, you got to take them as a whole person. This is who God created us to be. And a lot of times people don't accept people for who they are, whether it's their skin, whether it's their hair, maybe it's their clothes. Maybe they don't like the way they talk. But That's what causes a lot of problems in our society, is people are not accepting those who for who they are, and God wants us to do that. So, to put power in your personality, consider the following strategies. Be self-aware. Recognize your strengths and weaknesses. Find out what they are. Write them down on paper if you have to. Reflect on the past accomplishments and celebrate them to build your confidence. Set goals. Establish clear action goals that align with your values and aspirations. Break them down into smaller, manageable tasks. Develop emotional intelligence. Work on your emotional intelligence, which is crucial for personal power. This includes being able to influence your own behavior and behavior of others. Take responsibility, accept responsibility for your choices, and learn from your experiences. This can help you grow and develop your personal power. So, write down some of your strengths and your weaknesses. Work on your strengths. Find your your personality. What kind of person are you? What do you like to do? How can you help others? Build on what God has given you. And then do what God's work is expected of you from God. Because He made you. And He gave you a personality, and He gave you a purpose on this earth, just like everybody else. Everybody has a purpose on this earth. Everybody has their own personality. They're not going to be like everybody else. So don't try and go out there and be like everybody, because you're not. You're not supposed to do that. God put you for a reason. And except if you see someone that's different and you're not really sure about their personality and stuff, think about it. Would you like to be put down because of who you are? I'm different from you, but I'm not going to put you down because of anything about you. God created you, and I'm going to love you. So, with that, we're going to end. Just make sure you love everybody for who they are, because they're God's gift on this earth. So at this time, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine upon you and bring gracious unto you. The Lord turns His face towards you and give you peace. Bye for now, and God bless.